start over. Hello, hello. This here is the Miller table, so I'm just cleaning up our tailings here. See how much gold the tailings lost. Let's see, how should we do this? Oh man. Too much of that. Oh my god, I'm making a mess. Getting kind of full. Gotta get every little speck, because I know there's a tiny little speck in there that was lost on the Miller table. God damn. So you can see my other videos running the Miller table, and I ran these tailings through after I classified it down to the 1/16 of an inch, and I swear I saw two little specks go off that Miller table. The green thing right over there. I think that's pretty good. Side. into this wooden leg though. There we go. Alright, this is what we're gonna pan out. There we go. Hey everybody. I kind of got the phone like to my left, so it's kind of hard to see comments right now. We're gonna do like a nice slow pan on this. The screen just changed. Go live. Can't remember who gave you the shout out. Oh yeah, International Stacker, dude. This is my first time going live, so trying it out. What's this button do? Oh, effects. Alright. Close that. It showed top fans, 75 experience, 25 experience points. I don't know anything about XP next to your name, whatever that means. Crabs, love it. Fellow crab masters, crab stackers. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we got a couple people in here and 3 likes. About 5 times. So I'm learning also. Nice. Okay. So you don't want to do the swirl method because that just swirls the gold around potentially, and you could be putting it up into higher layers that you're washing out. So stratify back and forth, left and right. Let's see if I scoot up a little bit. That'll be better for you. Got my holy jeans on today since it's Sunday. So stratify, that's important. And you want to fill in there and make sure it's not, see about that deep, it's getting kind of dense. So I'll know the gold isn't in the top few layers, so I can go ahead and wash off a little bit of that. There goes a piece of jade that they added into the gold bags. Or turquoise, my bad. Alright. So wash my hands off into the pan in case gold stuck to it, because gold can float on the surface tension of the water, even though it's 19 times heavier than water. The specific, that means the specific gravity of gold is 19 point something or whatever. Anyway, so I've been stratifying a lot. I'm going to loosen it up because it's really kind of packed in there, you know. So you can see down here, that's kind of like hard now. You don't want that. You want it to be loose so the gold can get all the way to the bottom. That way when you're washing off the top layers, some people do the claw method, crab claw, go like this. I'm calling it the crab claw, but some people say, you know, claw in and twist, but I guess however it works to loosen that stuff up. And then maybe like a rotating method would still allow it to, the gold to fall to the bottom. But theoretically, as you're stirring it, you could be putting that gold back up into the higher layers, and so you got to be careful washing it down. Now, go like this, wash off your hands, make sure you don't have any gold stuck in your fingernails, you know. It can stick to you. Stratify some more. We're going to stratify to the lowest point right here. so the gold will all fall to that lowest point. If the material is too thick or dense, like clay or something, it won't penetrate through there. We'll just take a little bit off at a time, like this. Once I see I'm getting kind of light or too deep, then I'll do it again. Stratify, wash it back. You never want to shake while you're washing, because it can shake the gold right out. Let's see, check the comments here. Reduce the density of the sand so the gravity helps. Yeah, I don't know how you mean reduce the density. I think just by washing it, it reduces, you know, all the floaty stuff, like the dirt in between. Yeah, that looked like gold, but that was probably pyrite. And plus, yeah, that's a flake of pyrite that you can see it in certain lights, but to tell it's not gold, well, from my angle it looks like gold, but from if you tilt it, or if you block the light like this and it turns kind of like dark or black, then you know it's pyrite and not gold. But even pyrite tricks the most experienced panners once in a while. You know, it looks really convincing. Even under a jeweler's loupe, it's kind of tricky too. So you want to do different lighting, different angles. But gold is really obvious, but pyrite, it gets tricky. That's why it's called fool's gold. So now we're just going to wash, and now I'm just going to take off just the front. So I saw this amount move to here, so that I can take off that without taking too much any lower. I'm going to stratify a lot, like a lot more than most people do, because it's such fine gold that it just went right off the miller table. This is what the miller table sits on. Here's the miller table, and I'm pretty sure a little tiny piece of gold there, about the size of a tip of a ballpoint pen, it would probably sit on top of the ball. However small that is, it was sitting on the miller table, and then when I poked it, I had this at the end of it, and I caught it, and then I tried to pour it back on the miller table, it washed away. So you can lose gold on the miller table. So I'm doing this as an experiment to see if I can find those two little specks that I saw go through. I don't really care about that jade. I already picked out a whole bunch of it. It's just something the club adds to the pay dirt, the local club, so they can sell dirt. It'd be fun for the kids to pull out like little pieces of gems. Test it. It's getting pretty compacted down there, so I'll wash a little bit more, and then I'll stir it up with some more. And then when you let water in, you want to wash that material back down into the pan. Reduce the density of the sand so gravity helps. Are you referring to something I was saying, or are you asking a different technique? Well, all I know is it's really like compact down here. So if I said it was dense, then it's what I meant was it's compacting down here, like it's all stratifying and locking in, so the gold can't penetrate these dense layers. So you want to make sure everything's loose and broken up. You don't want clumps. You don't want clumps of clay either. You want to smash them down to nothing, because the clay can grab the gold and fall right out. Okay, so now that we got it all loosened up again, as you can see here, I can move it wherever I want. I can move it to this side of the pan too. Wash it back and forth a little bit. Try not to wash it out of the pan while you're shaking it. So now we can see the bottom of the pan there. It's too early to do the tap technique, but this is called the smile. So you would see gold there once you get a lot of the material moved down. So now I'm going to move it back to the other side, because that's where the ripples are. I need a little more water for that. There we go. And I'm stratifying at the same time. Stratifying, I mean. Got some stuck in there. Alright. There we go. You don't want to shake the gold out over the pan. And you don't want to do circles. Some of the YouTube videos still show circles. And that's not the most efficient way. You know, you're running a risk of swirling out the gold and bringing it to the top and then dumping it out as you're washing. So like I could do a gentle wash. I'm just gonna wash a little bit. I could wash a whole lot more and go a whole lot faster, but today I'm after like a couple tiny little specks. I think you'd call it fly poop, or you know, flour gold. Gotta make sure you can see the material being fluid, you know. Now I'm gonna try to grab all that material up here and see, like some of it's falling out, so I'll put it back in here. Even though I was washing, that's the reason it was there. I'll just still do it. Still bring it back home. Bring it back into the pan. Alright, there we go. So stratifying. Sometimes I say stratifying, like the stratosphere, but I think it's stratifying, so I mix it up. Around here there's called a strato bowl, where the first hot air balloon reached outer space from here. Piece of turquoise again. Throw that over here. If I can get it off my finger. Oh, I don't know where it went. I think it fell into the water. Sticking to me too good. Stratify. And then wash. And the material that you see moving down, then you can take that out. So shake. They say like 10 or 20 shakes, maybe 10 or 20 seconds, and then all the gold should be at the bottom. But if it's really fine stuff, it really depends on what kind of material you're shaking through. Like if it's dense material or clay material, if it's sandy material, sandy, loomy, clay, a lot of rocks, big rocks, little rocks, you know, it just depends on, like this is pretty much loose all the way to the bottom now, since we've done it a couple times and reduced the amount of material. But I'm gonna make sure that there's nothing hard right in the corner. It is kind of a little packed in the corner, so run my finger in there. Up here too, shake it around. Make sure none's coming out. Yeah, I think it's all fluid now. Wash your hands off in the gold pan. Yep. Try to flick any gold off that might have stuck to your hand since you're down there playing in it. You don't want to slosh the water out because you could be losing gold while you're stratifying. So a little less water. You kind of just adjust the water according to how much material you have, and if you got to move material forward or back more, or more gentle or more aggressively. Just adjust the water so you're not carrying too much water that you don't need, you know. So that's pretty good. Maybe we'll wash it this time. It's kind of just falling out on its own, so I don't want to do too aggressive of a wash. Maybe the top of this. That might be enough. That's probably plenty of shaking, but like I said, I'm after like such tiny stuff. Alright, reducing it down. Try to loosen up that clump a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Wash your hand off. Make sure you didn't get any gold stuck under your nail. But it's tiny little pieces. I feel something in there. I do have some of this. This water has like, it's called gold drop, but you can use jet dry or regular soap to break the surface tension of the water, because you can actually float a paper clip on water. A little tap, 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 tap. You can use the edge of the bucket or float it in the water and let it carry some of the weight to reduce the strain on your arms, your shoulders, your hands, your wrists. Get that washed back in there. Tap it against the edges. Alright, so let's wash it again. Just trying to take the top layer, and now since the top layer moved to the front, now I'm just taking the front. Alright. Get that all washed back in there. Once I washed it, I can kind of reduce the amount of water I don't need. Let's do a little tap back and see if I can see those two little pieces. These are all garnets. All these little dark red things. So if you're seeing garnets, those are pretty heavy. Oh, that's a pretty cool piece of mica or pyrite, probably. Who knows? Maybe it's silver. I don't know. I'll save it. There's that piece of gold. It's so small you can't even see it. Let's see. Just that, wash it away. Oh, here it is. It's right there. That little shiny one right there. So that little stuff and this little stuff you're losing in the Miller table. So there's at least two right there. Try to get the snuffer bottle and grab that before it falls out. I think we got it. Let's go over here and grab this one too. Yeah, I think we got it. Alright, let's look for some more. That's how much you lose in the Miller table, that small stuff. So if you're in an area like we are here where it's all fine stuff, then you kind of want to find ways to get that fine stuff out. We'll switch it to the fine ripples over here. Yeah, people say, oh, that'll get all the gold, but just because you're seeing fine gold doesn't mean you didn't lose most of it, you know? You probably lost most of it, but you probably trapped some. Not much you can do to get that real tiny stuff unless you're going to do cyanide or chemical leaching of some sort. So I kind of went a little too fast right there, but that's okay. I don't think there's any more fines in there. Alright, let's do a wash back and see. Cover it with water. Ooh, that looks heavy. Whatever that is. Maybe like a chunk of silver or lead. I don't know. There's a piece of gold right there. That's cool. I'll save that. Alright. I think there's gold right there. Oh wait, I pointed at the wrong one. Right there where the water just covered. And I got an uphill slant now, so the gold will tap uphill. Kind of like pulling the rug out from under it. You do like a little aggressive shape like that. Alright, well, we're getting gold. That one right there in front of my nail is gold. And I think the one next to it, two next to it. So at least two pieces there. I'll get it fucked up. You can leave it in there, and those are probably big enough that they're not gonna get lost. But you might as well just suck it up. Alright, let's start over. So we're gonna get everything washed to one side. Put that back in there. And let's stratify. And a little baby wash. Little tiny wash. The garnets are all rolling out the front because they're round. All those red things. Alright, let's stratify from somewhere. Little tap, tap, tap. Little tap, tap, tap. Taparoo. My fingers are cramping up. Switch hands. You can do it left-handed. Do a little ambidextrous here. And a little wash. Yeah, look at all those garnets. That's a good sign because, you know, the garnets are kind of heavy too. Probably not as heavy as lead, but, you know, when you see garnets, you know they're settling to the bottom, so it's kind of a good sign that the heavies are settling too. I think another reason they settle to the bottom is because they're round, and so they work their way through the material. See, I was shaking as I was pouring, so I'm going to start over again. There we go. Alright. And you know the gold's going to be at the lowest point, so none of that's going to have gold in it, theoretically. Unless it's this really fine stuff, it could just stick up here, and I could wash across it several times. It just stays stuck up here. That really tiny stuff. That's like micron gold. Some gentle washes. Now that first layer came down here, now I'll just wash the front right here to get that out of there. Alright. So, oh yeah. Wait a second. Some tiny stuff, I think. Yeah, I think it just kind of washed it there. Oh, I think it's there. Yeah, there's one there. That tiny speck. In the camera, it kind of looks white. I don't know what's up with these. I'm gonna save it and see if someone knows. Oh, see, there it goes. The wash away. See, like that one is pyrite. And it'll float away and it'll crush easy too. Oh wait. Yeah. I just broke it. So all those little pieces that I'm picking up is probably pyrite just in like a clumpy form. But this is like flaky. And when the light hits it perfectly, you think you got gold. Alright, I'm gonna grab that little tiny piece right there. Right at the tip. Right there. It looks white for you guys, but I know it's gold because I can tell. Yeah, it's kind of funny looking. Oh, what the heck? I think that's some gold with copper on it right there. Alright, some pyrite, or actually it might have been mica. If it's flaky, I think it's mica, but there, we got it off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that might be gold. Yeah. There it goes. I think that's gold. Try to get it checked up. I think it's like rusty looking gold. Alright, I think we got it. That's not gold, I don't think. I don't know. Let's put a shadow on it. So it's floating. I think it's alright. Let's see. There might be some tiny stuff there. Yeah, I think that's gold right there. Oh, right. Yeah, when I poke it, it's hard. Because it's metal. So we're going to get that. And I think that's about it. Get some water in there. Let me give it another suck here, just to make sure I clean out the tube, because sometimes when you squeeze it and it shoots out water, some gold could have been in there that didn't make it all the way down. If it's really fine, the heavy stuff you don't got to worry about that much, which is mostly what people are after. They're not after this real tiny stuff like this. But there's so much of this little tiny stuff. I mean, it probably doesn't really add up to go after it when you're doing it by hand, but if you're gonna chase like tons and tons, then you know that's why it's more efficient. The local mine here uses cyanide to get all that little stuff. So in that case, you know. But when you're panning and using like a high banker like I have in the video, you really don't. You just let this stuff go. The pressure of the water just pushing it down, you know. Unless you classified it down small like this, and even running out on the miller table, it's losing it. So you probably lose some on a shaker table too. Shaker table might have a better chance, or like a concentrator or centrifugal concentrator. I think that's all we got. So I guess I'll call that a day. That's pretty good. Oh, I just found another one that's really hairline. Maybe like the thickness of my fingernail or something. Put like a little drop of water on there and wash out the material around it. Oh, there's two of them there. I think they're floating too. I'll wash off my finger here and look at it and get it stuck in my hand here. See, all the material around it's moving except for the gold. Because the gold's bigger than the material around it. So we'll go ahead and get that little stuff too. So I always squirt into the pan in case there is gold in the tube here. Give it a little tap. If it's real tiny like that, you can just stick to the sidewall. Oh yeah, okay, I think there's some right there too. Alright, sure. Wash everything down. about it.